All right, guys, welcome to the inaugural episode of the Rowdy Loafers.
Woo!
Yeah, man, this is a long time coming. This is not even us pulling it. It's people trying to get into the inside scoop of what we're doing here in this crazy world of boots and suits. And
everybody wants to know.
Just neat things, right? So that's why we're doing this. And today, in this inaugural episode, we have our good friend, Justice Ken Wise. He's going to be joining us. So stay tuned. This is going to be the most entertaining hour of your week.
Or maybe not, but stay tuned.
All right, guys, welcome back. This is the inaugural episode of the Rowdy Loafers. We'll talk more about this name, this crazy name that we have here in our Houston area, right? What is that all about? And definitely Ken will give us a great download on that. So I'm here with my compadres. I got Fireball Bill over here, and I got Suit Steve, the haberdasher himself.
How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good, Steve.
Good, man. Good. It's good to
good.
see you.
Thank you, man.
Glad to be here.
I mean, you've been hanging out in Kazakhstan, and now you're back in Texas.
Yeah,
Love
back
it.
in the homeland, man. It's
Love
good to be back here with my good friends. We're
Absolutely.
making boots, doing some cool stuff,
Back
and
in the motherland.
living the life. Why are we doing this? What do you think, Bill? What's going on? What does a podcast and boots and Texas have to do with?
We're bringing Texas to the world. That's what we're supposed to do. And we can't just keep it all here with us. We got to share the love with everybody else.
Sounds like a Gary P. Nunn song.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I love it.
I live Gary P. Nunn songs out.
That's right.
I mean, it's kind of special in here, you know. I mean, tell us about this place, Chris. The impresario himself.
Oh, thank you.
Tell us about where we're at, man. This is a cool place. We can't keep this all to ourselves. We got to share it. I think people have asked for it.
And that's the whole thing. That's the reason why we're doing this. It's an interesting place. It's not just about making stuff. It's about the whole experience, right? And that's the thing. I mean, they come and meet the famous Fireball Bill, and they get the full Texas experience of creating handcrafted boots or suits, and listen to live music and all those kinds of things. That's what we're trying to take it and bottle it up in this podcast. So we've got some great folks that we know, and we're gonna get to know them a little bit better here on the podcast, and then go into the historical reasons why those things are cool, man. So tell us about yourself, man. I mean, you're the guy as well. You're more famous probably than both of us. So
I don't think so.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think so, man. It's being part of Republic Boot is it's a fun ride. Bill and I have known each other for a lot of years.
Quite a while.
Yeah.
And it wasn't too many years ago he introduced me to you, and the whole vision behind Texas and handcrafted custom boots, it just really fit in with everything that I do in making a handcrafted custom suit or sport coat or shirt. It's all about those details and everything that goes into there you go, showing it off. Blue Custom Menswear is we're proud to be a partner and to work with Republic Boot, and we've got some ready to wear items up front that people have really loved, especially this time of year. Rodeo, a lot of guys out there sporting boots and sport coats with a little bit of Western flair, with the the Western yoke and all of those things, and so that's a lot of fun. But it's really all about that.
What inspired that? I mean, where did that come from? I mean, it's got to come from somewhere. It wasn't just us. It was. I know you have a long background in the big box stores, but something back in the day says, look, I want to be kind of like this thing.
God, back in the day, even as a young kid, I was always wearing boots, and I
where'd you grow up, by the way?
San Antonio.
Okay,
San Antonio kid,
cool.
Texas, and so grew up in Texas my whole life. Really never left San Antonio, and so growing up there, it was as about as Texas as you could be. I was part of the 4-H, FFA, showed hogs in high school,
that's awesome.
cool. All that kind of stuff. So fun times. It was that was the way I dressed. And so if you were to catch me even now, and I'm not going to anything specific, just the way I, get dressed in the morning, it's going to be probably boots and jeans and a sport coat, because that's kind of my thing, but as far as custom menswear, it's just that. It's anything you want, just like your boots. You've got guys that come in and want a very specific Western style boot, and then you guys that want something a little bit more refined. That, hey man, I'm going to wear this with my suit. So, custom is just that. You can do anything you want, and that's what I love about being a part of this.
It's cool.
This place, Texas, handcrafted.
That's right. That's why we're doing this. I mean, you're getting to meet the Rowdy Loafers themselves, and we'll go into this Rowdy Loafer deal. Suit Steve, I mean, the history is awesome. I mean, he's got that passion for the cool stuff. Fireball Bill. The cool thing that Fireball Bill told me yesterday as well, and everybody knows Fireball Bill. I don't have to introduce the guy, but I will. But he said that the UPS or somebody that he hangs out with that comes in here all the time loves the guy so much, saw him at the rodeo, introduced him to the parents, and they were just hugging it out. Because you're just the guy, right? I mean,
that's awesome. The guy,
isn't that a cool story? I mean,
there's 100,000 people at the rodeo, and I'm standing there in the shops area in NRG Center, and I get a guy hollering out Fireball, and then I thought I heard it, and all of a sudden he said Mr. Meeks, and I turned around, and it was my UPS driver. He's probably like 22 years old, 23, and he gave me a hug, and he said, "I want to introduce you to my folks," and the dad actually gave me a hug and said, "Thank you for taking care of my son."
Wow, that's great.
That's a huge deal. And that's what we try to do. We have people. I don't care who you are. If you come to our store, whether you're a vendor, you're a customer, it doesn't matter who you are. We're going to give you the experience. We're going to treat you like you're one of our own.
That's right, man. And what inspired you in the Western wear world? I know you're not from Houston, but you're still a Rowdy Loafer. You're coming from the Dallas.
Well, I'm a
area.
fifth generation Texan.
Right.
I was born in West Texas, and that's where the family's from. And early age, we moved to Dallas area. But ever since I was a little kid, we're in the concrete jungle of Dallas, and my first pair of shoes where I was old enough to walk that I knew I wanted a pair of boots, and the same thing as what Steve was saying. And I wore boots my whole life. Everyone else is, rock and roll and the city people, and I knew from 5 years old all the way up that I wanted boots and jeans and a hat, and I've been a cowboy all my life, and this is just who I've always been. I've had different jobs throughout my career. Working for Nike and Reebok, and I always wore boots and jeans, and a cowboy hat, and I would get chastised because I wasn't wearing the branded product I was supposed to be wearing, but I made it work.
Nike Air boots.
Well, that's
you just told them
it was actually on that was on the drawing board at one time.
There you go.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, we all love you, of course, and you definitely have your own persona for yourself. This is fun, and that's kind of what this is going to be about, guys. We're gonna introduce you to a lot of interesting folks. We've got a lot of really cool content that we're going to be going through. The boots every week. We're going to be highlighting a boot of the week, and just talking about the historical aspects of these different guests that we have coming up. So,
well, yeah. I mean, Chris, before we started this thing, we were all sitting around talking, and the experience that people get when they come in here to Republic Boot. Here in the Heights, Houston, Texas, is you can't compare that to anything, and people have always said, man, I wish I'd have known about this place earlier. I wish I'd heard about this, and I think part of this whole podcast thing, man, is just bring it to them.
Exactly.
Let's
kind of bottle it up, right?
Yeah.
Well, and we have folks that come in and that we've talked to them, and they come in and they walk in and there's no way you can describe this.
No.
You can't. It is a vibe. It's a feel. But now we kind of can through this podcast.
That's right.
Because they get to meet our personalities. They get to meet who we are. And so we kind of could get to share that through the waves, I guess, versus just word of mouth.
Right. I love it.
That's it. Again, some of the history of this is it was a passion, right? So I think we talked about the perspective change and stuff like that. If you go away, and I know you spent a lot of time overseas in different places. I say overseas. You were in Hawaii for a while, and that's maybe a different, podcast and stuff like that. But I think for myself, I think when you see Texas from a different lens and see the people that really have that perspective of, and cowboys, cool stuff, leather goods, individualism, and just that raw, we've got to really embrace that. When a lot of my friends came back from overseas, they were just like, "Where is that? I want a piece of that. Can you show that to me?" We didn't really have a whole lot of that in Houston. It just became too, commercialized a bit. Kind of lose your identity.
I mean, you spent a lot of time in Italy, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about that. What
So Italy,
because that influenced you a lot in building this this place out.
It did.
And what we do. Yeah.
Yeah, the Italians. I still have a lot of Italian friends. I brought over a few of my good friends to be here in Houston, actually, and build their families here. But it changed me more than it probably changed them.
Right.
Like the Italians are fantastic people, very good in their fashion sense, their math and science and these kinds of things. And it's so kind of a closed culture. When I went inside, it's like you must live inside of our world. Like there was nothing like on a Sunday to eat. Like you had, because I wasn't abiding by the particular time schedules,
right,
or whatever. Once you figure those kind of things out and you understand what they're passionate about and what they're really good at, why are all the things like made there that are really good, like the fashion side, the car stuff, the industrial goods, is because they really care about those kinds of things and
taking pride in something that
they
you
take
do.
pride.
They take pride. They take time to do it. It's not an overnight thing, right?
And so when somebody asks you, what do you take pride in? You guys are the Texas guys.
Right.
Oh well, you have to like defend yourself.
Well, for us, if someone's wearing our product, whether it be a hat, a suit, or boots, or whatever it is that we have, we want them to be proud that they're wearing it.
Right.
And if someone asks them where they got it, we want to be proud, and I want them to be proud that we have that product.
But I always had that in my mind.
We are.
That kind of Italian thing, like this is what we do. We're the best in the world at it, and so you're known for leather goods and all those things. So I'm like, yeah, we're going to be the best at it, right? So that always resonates.
Yeah.
So that Italian experience for me, like really, I wake up every day and we fight fires. This is not always great all the time. We have a great time.
But it's
inside
a daily
the shop.
struggle. And we say struggle, and struggling doesn't mean it's not bad.
Right.
It's something that we work at every single day.
Struggling to get
we're
better.
We're always trying to improve.
Everything we do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You get better. And that perspective is the thing that I think is going to really take us to the next level. So anyways, that's kind of a little bit about the Loafers. We're going to be your host for the next 500 episodes that we do here, right? Why are you laughing?
Stay tuned.
It's going to be really cool. So what we're going to
You can take a break.
Yeah.
So we're going to do an hour of your week, and this will be the most entertaining, educational time of your week. Give us an hour. I promise you that we will teach you a little bit of something. You'll meet some very interesting people, and we're going to have a good time, man, because we're going to bring you into this world that is concealed. We're not actors. We're the real deal. We live this every single day. Hey guys, welcome back to the inaugural episode of the Rowdy Loafers. I'm so excited to be talking about all the details around this name, my good compadres here, Suit Steve and Fireball Bill. We got the judge in town as well. But before that, we're inside. We're doing this live from the Republic Boot Company. We're on the stage here. You might have seen such people as me on stage and others.
All these famous people, like
these,
me.
That's after hours.
I know, it's after hours. Yeah. I'm just kidding. No, we have a good time here at the Rowdy Loafer headquarters here. We're making cowboy boots here, and we'll be talking about those later. But one of the great reasons why we're doing this is we love Texas history, right? We're trying to embrace our culture, do some really cool stuff with Republic, which the roots, of course, go back to the Republic of Texas, right?
Right.
From 1836 to 1846, we had our time.
Remember the Alamo.
That's right.
Absolutely.
All these great things. We're gonna go deep into all these fun things: the Alamo, the Runaway Scrape, the things the Goliad Massacre. This is just a few days ago. We're in April, by the way. We're still in the high holy days of Texas history, Texas independence.
That's right.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah, we're gonna have a fun time, and we're gonna have a frequent guest because he's a good friend of ours, which is Justice Ken Wise. So let's welcome Justice Ken Wise to the stage. Come on, man.
Yeah. How are you?
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Good to see you boys.
It's good to see you too.
Y'all are high tech. I'm gonna put these.
I know. Put them on. Put them
I don't want to
on.
miss a minute.
I know. You might hear that beautiful voice. So he's from many things, of course, but the award-winning podcast Wise About Texas, which that's how I got in touch with you, Ken. Now, what is the inspiration of all that? What is the inspiration of why it's about Texas and your love for Texas? I know it's two different
Well,
questions.
those are two different things, but I've loved Texas since I was a little kid. It's in you when you're from here.
Yeah.
My ancestors came in 1836 to Houston, as a matter of fact. My great-great-grandfather was a physician here.
He was not a Rowdy Loafer.
He was not a Rowdy Loafer, but I do want to tell you
Yes, please.
where that came from
Yes,
at some
please.
point. But he was a doctor here in Houston and ended up settling in Montgomery.
Okay.
But I grew up with it, grew up with the history, was consuming the history, was reading the history, and it's just wonderful. And finally came time in my life to give something back. And I was publishing articles on Texas history, giving speeches, and there wasn't a Texas history podcast. So I thought, well, that might be a chance for people that wouldn't otherwise hear history to hear it. And it's worked so far.
Millions? I think it is.
Over 1 million listeners. Yeah.
Over
Nice.
1 million
Wow.
listeners. How many countries? I know you talk about the countries too.
I think it's 157 at this
Oh,
point.
come on.
but
This is incredible.
yeah,
That's
pretty
awesome.
cool.
I mean,
It's
A lot of
nice.
people want to know about Texas.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, as we talk about
And he's
kind
sitting
of,
right here.
That's right.
that's right.
At the center of the world,
That's
center of the
the
universe.
Center of the
right.
universe. So we have
Yep.
so many cool things, and we've been hanging out for how long? Like 5 years, something like
Yep.
like that. And we've been going through like we just talking about something and talking about the situation of the day and the historical aspect. And I absolutely love going deep into the backstory of some of these conversations about, again, Goliad or the Alamo and all this. So, we're really blessed to have Ken. I mean, so you're just in Washington D.C. I mean, so what does your day look like? I mean, you're all over the place. I mean, you're like the busiest
is.
guy ever. To
Well,
pin him down for a
yeah.
podcast was super difficult.
I
So
need to learn to say no. But
I know.
yeah, I was in D.C. this week. We're recording this at the end of March, and so I went up there for.
So, Judge, tell us a little bit more about yourself, about your background.
Well, I was born and raised here in Houston, and mentioned earlier that my ancestors have been here since 1836, and it's just Southeast Texas is home. Houston, Harris County, Montgomery County. Grew up in the 70s and 80s, typical
Yep.
suburban upbringing. Very blessed. Greatest parents in the history of parents, which is how every kid should feel, or deserves to feel. And went to Texas A&M.
Woo!
Was
I know you outnumbered up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got a bunch of Aggies up here. Yeah.
was actually
even next week is going to be
That's
worse.
right. Yeah.
actually on the rodeo team for 2 years, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
fun to talk about, but also it wasn't real helpful to the GPA.
Yeah. Yeah.
So had to get serious about school, and it's a long story, ended up going to law school and falling in love with trial work, and did that. And Governor Perry asked me to take an empty civil district court bench in 2002, and here
Yep.
we are in 2023, and I'm still doing it. It's been a calling to serve this state, and I love it every single day.
That's awesome,
I love
man.
it. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Do other people in your world? I know you work a lot with the Texas Rangers, which is awesome, but embrace Texas and Texas culture and history like we do. I mean, you come in the boot shop and we're just hanging out because we are kindred spirits in this kind of way. But I just don't feel that the government people love Texas like.
No, I'll tell you they do, and here's the deal. Texas is inside you, whether you know it or not. Doesn't matter what's on the outside. It matters what's on the inside. And Texas means a lot of different things to a lot of different people in 2023. It meant the same thing in 1836. People were a lot more alike or whatever. But one of the things that Texas has done, in my judgment, for the last 187 years, I guess, I went to A&M, can't add, but is take people from all over the world and make them part of the fabric of Texas. So Texas in 1836 is never going to look like Texas in 1936 or 2023 or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's going to look different. It's going to look different in 10 years, and that's okay,
Yeah.
as long as the spirit is the same, and that's the key.
the spirit's got
And the spirit manifests in a lot of different ways, but one of the ways that everybody enjoys that spirit is the cowboy boots, the cowboy hat, the cowboy culture.
that kind of
Because
individualism
that's-
too. I mean, that's
And what that represents,
Yeah.
and that's
And then
That's unique.
we get to carry the torch.
yeah, that's unique. And so you do need to wear that.
you got to kind of stand
out.
out, right? That's the whole
Right.
thing. Like Texans have always been a little bit, broad-shouldered, just kind of
little bit
standing out.
brash, yep.
We do that through our cowboy boots and some of our suits, like this. Like, we got a Western yoke, this kind of stuff.
Right.
It's just it's just our thing, right?
Right, and it is in all areas of the state. You mentioned earlier in the podcast I was listening to about the Houston Rodeo, and so the Houston Rodeo, San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo, Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. That's a time for people in these big cities to come together, and everybody can do something in common to celebrate that spirit. They can wear their hats, they can wear their boots. Doesn't matter if you if you never wear them another day in your life, you're going to wear them to that rodeo. It brings us together, and that's what Texas is about. That's a good point. Is coming together.
Yeah, it's like our good friend Deborah Duncan, right? So she's a great. She does Great Day Houston.
Great Day Houston.
Great Day Houston. Just a wonderful person. Comes together, loves the cowboy spirit, and just doesn't matter like different parts of the Houston that people come from or what they're about. And that's what we're bringing people together, especially here. Right?
Well, it's kind of like I kind of look at Republic Boot Company and where we're at right now almost as a microcosm of Texas. We've, what you guys have created here. It's like when people walk in, they get this rush that comes over them of Texas. We have people that walk in from all walks of life, overseas,
all over
different parts of the country, and they come in here and they experience this just overwhelming rush of this is what Texas is. This is what Texas feels like.
Yeah, sensory overload. You come in, the smells, the sounds, the sights, everything. They get to experience it all.
So we're going to go into the undertones of the Rowdy Loafers. Everybody's asking. I'm getting all these questions. Well, you guys are doing a Rowdy Loafer podcast. What is a Rowdy Loafer? It sounds weird, like rowdy. Are you guys crazy or whatever? Kind of the antithesis of that a little bit. Because I got the judge keeping me in line a little bit.
Yep.
Right? But what is a Rowdy Loafer? Ken, you're the historian here, so give
historical perspective. I'm not sure it's great.
Yeah, you may not want to know.
What is a Rowdy Loafer and why are we doing this? I don't understand.
Well, I'll tell you, back in 1836, April 21st, 1836.
Getting close.
Battle of San Jacinto.
Yeah.
And the battle is won. But what people don't think about is why in the world did so many people come to Texas during that time and immediately sign up to fight? Well, the answer is you got land, which in 1836 meant prosperity. Land was opportunity. Land was prosperity. That's what you wanted. And it was free if you fought in the army. And so you would get 640 acres, and there were some other things where you
I'll
get
take
some more
640
land.
acres. I'll go
Exactly.
right now. Yeah.
Wow. And so they would come and they would fight, and they would get their land certificate, and they would sell it. So there were a lot of people who fought in the army. And Texas was a new city, of course, in 1836, and became the capital of the Republic of Texas.
Yeah,
it was
Houston
the first,
here, right? Yeah.
It was the first designated by the legislature capital of the Republic of Texas. And so you had all these people here. They had sold their land certificates. They had a bunch of money and very little discipline. And
So
and
what
a
is the
taste
ratio
for the whiskey.
What is the ratio of the 600 and something acres to like how much money they got to a beer? I mean, so it's like
That's a great question. I don't know. I'll
That's
get
a 12
Dr.
pack.
Stephen Harden on that. We could do.
I've got it. I've got a case of beer.
I will have to get somebody on that. But they had all this money, and they drank it up. So here are a bunch of guys, rough, tough, frontiersmen types. They all had
because
big
if you're leaving your
knives.
home in Alabama, you're leaving for something, and you're stuck here. I mean, you're not just a printer or like a lawyer.
No, not at all. They had no trade. So there's this class that is drinking every day. They're violent people. They're armed to the teeth. I mean, you can read countless.
Sounds like Fireball Bill over here.
I was going to say, sounds just like us.
Every day.
We're getting there. And I think if there's no more Rowdy or Loafer than Bill Meeks. But so they're walking around town, and there's going to be fighting.
Yeah.
And there was fighting. And there was a period in Houston's history, early in Houston history, there was a murder a day. I mean, there was just this violent underclass. But we were the capital of the Republic. So when you're a capital, you want to give the notion that you're prosperous and all of that. They're building a Capitol building and et cetera. And so you had a big bunch of people that were like, we're trying to make this city nice. We're trying to make it decent. We're going to dress nice. We're going to do business. And the most important thing about being elite is you got to have somebody to look down on. So they looked down on all these drunk ne'er-do-wells, and they nicknamed them Rowdy Loafers.
Oh man.
And so that's where the Rowdy Loafers comes from.
All right.
But
Not that we are.
yeah, you're just going to have to sort it out.
We're just sorting stuff out. We're just keeping the name alive so we can have the historical context.
That's right.
I
to,
resemble that remark.
I love it.
Yeah, man. I'm interested to know more about your connection with the Texas Rangers. I know you do a lot of things with them. I just recently met a gentleman who's a Texas Ranger, and I won't name him because I don't know if he wants me to, but doing a custom wedding tuxedo for him and his fiance, and I think I just thought it was such an honor to do that. But I'd love to hear more about your connection with Texas Rangers.
And Ken and I had a mutual friend of Joaquin Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
One of
Okay.
the most
Famous Texas Ranger.
Yeah.
You grab those boots back
He
there?
was iconic. But well, the Rangers. So one of the ways I got into Texas history was reading about the Rangers, because if
Yep.
you read about the Texas Rangers, they were present at every. They're older than Texas.
Yeah.
And so they were present at every significant moment in Texas history. And so I started reading about the Rangers, and it just became very interesting to me. And then when I decided I wanted to serve the state, I thought, well, I mean, that's the same
There you go.
sort of spirit that
Yeah.
you had. And of course, being in the judiciary, I call myself a last responder. And because I'm on the Court of Appeals. And so, you just get to know them, and you're now I'm reviewing their work product as a district judge. I was dealing more directly with some of the stuff. But then, there's the Rangers are 200 years old in 2023. And that's unique. I mean, there's not much in the state that's 200 years old. And they started, those are beautiful. They started out as an arm of the Mexican government. The original Texas Rangers were a Mexican police force,
Wow.
for lack of a better term,
Yep.
because Stephen F. Austin asked for authority
Esteban.
to raise some Rangers.
Yeah.
And so they started out as a Mexican organization, and now they were Texan and United States law enforcement organization. So very interesting history.
What year was that? That was
1823.
23.
200
Wow.
years ago.
Oh wow, 200 years. That's right.
A lot of lore
These are
and
very cool.
history
Oh,
surrounding them.
We talk a lot about boots, right? So we're going to be kind of getting in some boot stuff here, but this is a really cool one for the former Texas Rangers Foundation. This is all hand tooled right here, and we have the Ranger patch on the back. So it's a shark boot. Pretty neat.
Yep,
People want to know about the details of the boots, and we'll go into that as well. But here's your Judge. You forgot your
Oh, that's right. We got
Yeah.
gavel.
you got your gavel.
If any group needs order, this group needs order.
Yeah.
And it's not the bench I'm going to hit with this.
That's
No,
right.
exactly.
A little too rowdy.
I've
These
been
loafers.
all the time.
Don't be too rowdy. Good music,
Yeah,
guys. That's
good.
really good stuff.
High tech.
We're getting
High
very
tech.
high tech. So Ken is used to doing like these podcasts that are like on the thing that you can actually manipulate. You can't manipulate the video, right? What do you think, man? I mean, like, what is the future of Wise About Texas? I mean, are you going to do some other cool stuff? You can go on video. I love this. Millions of people love this.
So I had to put it on YouTube, but it's a podcast. And I
Yeah.
was like, nobody's going to listen to a podcast on YouTube. Boy, was I wrong.
Yes.
Several thousand subscribers later, they're listening to the podcast on YouTube. So I do that, but it's really not video centric. There are some videos up there. I do 100 speeches a year, easy,
Yeah.
and a lot of those are video, and I'll put those up there. And my beautiful daughter Sarah Jane, she'll video me at various historic sites. We call those Wise About Texas Minutes, and we'll put those up there.
Nice.
And she's here.
Just
too.
so
Yeah.
we
Cool.
can, because I'm traveling all over the state
Where's
all
she
the
at? Come
time.
up here real quick.
And
Can she come up here? Just real quick.
She
Oh.
might come up here.
Yeah,
I
she
don't know.
might. All right, we got to see her. Nobody's seen her
Yeah.
on.
She's my road crew, my
Road
security,
crew.
chief of security,
Yeah.
straight A
Security.
student, etc.
There she is.
So how you doing, baby? All right, there you go.
There it
So,
is. You're famous.
She loves Texas. She's out
Yes. Good.
here. But anyway, I think I've got a lot I want to do. I got a lot of people that everybody will know that have agreed to do the podcast. But the state of Texas wants me to show up every day to the 14th Court of Appeals. So there's a limited amount of time.
Cool.
And you just kind of do it in spurts and do it when you can. So we're working on it. But
Very
we've had
cool.
some great guests. We're going to have some. I'm going to do a series on Texas music, which I think everybody's going to like.
Yeah, we'll love that.
Yeah, exactly. We're
Yeah.
gonna like our big thing is we're gonna inlay a lot of Texas music
Yeah.
and a lot of Texas just people that we know around that genre, right? Right.
Good. Yeah. Sounds awesome.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Man.
I think so.
Well, we thank you for that too.
Yeah, of course, man.
Bring it
It's
up.
all about Texas.
Can you sing for us?
Nope.
We'll save that for another
Couldn't if,
episode.
couldn't if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Justice Ken Wise. We appreciate you, man.
Yes,
this
sir.
has been super educational for us, and we're gonna get deep. So every time we kind of go into some Texas history with our different folks, we're gonna bring him to fact check them and have him come and give us some flavor, some of that good Texas vibe.
Well, it's always good to see you boys.
Good to see you.
Thanks for being with us. All right.